$5,000 and you're going to pay 8.9% interest and you're going to be in super debt. So this is their goal. This is what they do. This is what Best Buy does. This is what Lowe's does. This is what all the companies do. This is what Target does. This is what Macy's does. Hey, would you like to sign up for our credit? You can get 15% off right now. And they're like, if I can get these suckers to sign this, we're going to make this much money back on them because they're signing up for something. I'm going to give them $10 off right now, and we're going to make $110 because they won't actually pay it off. That's how it works. Anyway, okay, so 740 to 779 usually qualifies, for best interest rates. Above average is 720 to 739. Our answers were over 700, 660 and 760. 680 to 719, look at that, orange, it's the average. Now, I don't know what any of your credit scores are, and I didn't ask on purpose because I didn't want everybody looking at you when we read your category, all right? 680 to 719 may qualify for most loans at higher interest rates. Below average is 620 to 679. Says above, okay? 660. And then poor credit is 580 to 619. Usually has some credit issues, will probably not qualify for most loans. 520 to 579 is very poor, has several credit issues, unlikely to qualify for any loan. And then worst case, facing extreme credit issues. Now what's really scary, and because I have a relationship with my broker, and we talk about these things when people are buying houses, he's like, Troy, he goes, you won't believe what just happened. He goes, I just had a guy call, and he makes, whoops, messed up. $190,000 a year. That's pretty good. Might be better than all of us put together. Right? He makes $190,000 a year. Anybody want to guess what his credit score was? 634. Where did I hear that at? Right there, 634. Anybody else? 580. His credit score was that. Poor. And you're thinking, how in the world does that happen? And guess what? He had this much saved for a down payment. So he made this much money, had this credit score, and had that much saved to buy a house. But he was calling to get a loan to buy a house. And then you're in a tough situation because as the lender or the loan broker, you're like, holy cow, you make a lot of money. You should be able to buy a house, but I can't sell you one. I can't service your loan because this right here. Which tells me probably lots of trips to Vegas, lots of vacations, lots of motorcycles, lots of toys in the garage, lots of spending, not paid on time to get that credit score. Because you got the money. So somewhere the old snowball isn't working, or there is no budgeting system, and because I make this much, then someone should just give me money to buy a house. Well, obviously he has proven to not be a reliable person to lend to, so they won't lend. Okay? Now that's an extreme situation. But many times people think, well, I've had conversations with people. Well, my credit score, I think it's pretty good. It's like 640 something. So your credit score, based on your perception, it could be good. But based on this, someone who thinks a credit score of 640 is pretty good, according to this, is below average. So it's important that we understand what a credit score is, and it's important that we have a good one, because you either have to have a good credit score or no credit. There's no in between. Because honestly, Dave Ramsey teaches that you don't have to have credit, but the only way to do that is you have zero debt. You have nothing there, and you have to apply for loans for houses on a manual system, which is very rare and very hard to do. So that it's not really common in these days and times. So everybody's going to have some sort of credit. So the best thing to do is have good credit, which means that you're reliable in paying things back, right? And so the best way to start with credit, and it's important to do this, especially if you have a teenager or a young person, if you're a parent, is just to open them up a bank credit for $500 max. That's the max. They can go down to Best Buy, buy a set of earbuds for $120, put it on that thing, and then the next month or the next 2 months, pay it off. And then do it again. And they'll start establishing a credit score. It also is established through how often you pay off debt and how much debt you have. So at one time, it's called the DTI, your debt to income ratio. And so if your debt to income ratio does not hit a certain number, you won't qualify for a loan because it says that you have more debt. And if we add this loan to it, it'll max you out according to their ratios, and they can't give you you can't buy the house. So this is why the economy got in a lot of trouble in between 2000 and 2008, because they were giving loans on houses on what they called stated income. Now, Pastor Troy was a benefactor of that particular situation in time, because I had a house that was worth at that time $650,000. Well, I only owed $350,000. So tell me how much equity I have. $300,000. So here's what I owe. Here's what it's worth. That is called paper money. That is called imaginary money. In the imaginary world, if I sold this house, I could get $650,000, and the bank will say, I'll give you an equity line, or I'll give you a line of credit on that based on the fact that you're going to pay me back, and I'm going to charge you anywhere from 3% to 7% interest on that equity line. In other words, you're borrowing against money that is technically yours, but it's imaginary. Y'all get that? You follow that? Some people know about this, some people don't. I didn't know about this when I had my first house, and I wished I knew about it because I would have done my first house differently. I would have borrowed on it to buy the house I'm in now, and I would have rented my house that I had then. But instead, I thought I had to sell in order to buy because I didn't know what an equity line was. So from that, I took the advantage of the system of 2005 to 2007, and all I had to do was state my income. Well, I make this, and I have these houses. And then they would give me a loan. So I bought 3 rental properties based on stated income, which was a little bit dangerous, but I generally didn't know that back then. And so thank God, God took care of us, and we had renters, and they paid their rent. Got ripped off a few times, but eventually we caught up, and now I have way more in, I don't hardly owe anything on the houses, but they're worth, because of the last few years, hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? And so therefore my assets are way higher, so I can go in pretty much anywhere. My credit score is, I think, 820 or something, and I can say, here's my credit score, here's what I own, give me a loan. No questions asked. How much would you like? 20s, 10s, 100s, 500s, what do you want them in? Like, when you're like that, then you have leverage. Yeah. Because now you have a proven track record, and you have assets. So if I go belly up on it, they're like, hey, we're going to end up with this guy's houses. Because he has all these houses and they're almost all free and clear. So if he messes up, we got all kinds of ways to get our money back, right? So this is how the system works, and so you have to understand, and so it's important. Now remember that a car loan is different than a house loan. A Best Buy loan is different than a car loan. So you might qualify with your credit score down here in the purple and the red to buy a TV at Best Buy. But you're not going to qualify to buy a house. You're going to have to be, normally, I think whoever said above 660 is about where it's at. So if you're at 660 or above, you'll generally get some type of loan. The problem is with those is they're going to be at higher interest rates. You're not going to have the lowest interest rate, you're going to have the highest. And then generally there's a first-time buyer program. You can get the loan, which is a great thing. It really is, because you own a house. But you're going to pay a high interest rate for the state of California to lend you the money for your down payment on that house. You're going to pay a higher interest rate. But we believe, my broker and I, that if you can get into the house, as the interest rate goes down, you can then refinance it, get rid of that loan that California State gave you, the state of California, and now you have it with an FHA or a different type of loan at a lower interest rate because you've proven it and the equity has gone up and you've paid it down, and now you have a gap. Okay? This is the greatest advantage between owning a house versus renting, is every month that you rent, you give it to someone else. When you own the house, every month you pay it, you're paying yourself. Okay? Let me do that just for a little math for those who maybe don't understand that they've never bought a house yet. So every month, let's just say your payment on your mortgage is $2,500. We'll just come up with a number. Some people it's $3,500. Some people it's $1,700. So $2,500. Of that, you're going to have principal. You're going to have interest. You're going to have taxes. And sometimes escrow. Sometimes you'll have HOA in it. Just depends how your loan is set up. But every month you pay this $2,500 all goes to whoever you're paying it to. But of this $2,500, roughly probably $1,000 would go to principal, somewhere in that area. Okay? Of the other $1,500, it gets eaten up in these areas. We'll say this is $500 for taxes. They're going to get $750 in interest on you, and then $250 down here in these categories. So every month you're paying $2,500, you're like, well, that's the same as if I was paying rent. No, it's not. Can you all see the math? We'll use Rich and Devin. The principal owner of the house is Rich and Devin. So every month that they pay $2,500, they're actually paying themselves $1,000. Interest, taxes, all this stuff goes to make sure you can buy the house. So then every month you do that, guess what? At the end of 1 year, they will have paid themselves $12,000 instead of to the apartment complex or the landlord of the house you own or you rent, right? Because then when you go to sell your house, you bought it for $400, which isn't realistic right now, but I just came up with that number. So you bought it for $400, you've put $12,000 into it, and so now you are at $388, and you're going to sell it for $450. So you're going to make $50 plus $88. You're going to make $62,000 on the sale of your house that you only put $12,000 into. Y'all tracking with me? Okay. This is called equity. You bought it for $400, it went up to $450, and while it's going up, you're paying towards your own house, and your debt that you owe the banking institution is going down. And so you have this gap that is created. And that's called wealth and leverage. Okay? So this is why it's important to get into your own buying situation as soon as you possibly can, however you can, so that you start paying yourself every month rather than your landlord. How do I know this? Because I'm a landlord. I have people that pay me rent every month on my houses, right? And so I'm like, I own a house in Fort Worth, Texas that I haven't paid anything on. I only owe $50,000 on that house, and it's worth $350,000. I haven't paid anything. Other people have rented it from me, paid their rent. I think it's at $1,900 is what I'm getting for it right now. My mortgage is $1,100. There's an $800 gap. I saved some of that back for an air conditioner I had to put in this last year, which cost me $5,000. All these types of things, but those are all tax, part of taxes. And so this is how you develop and you build wealth, but it's important that you have a good credit score so that you can qualify for the loans to buy the houses. All right? Everybody follow that? That was a little more detail than I was really planning on getting tonight, but anyway. Okay, so credit score, great. There it is. It's up there. You guys can take that one down. Now we're going to talk about something else that we were going to talk about tonight. We're going to erase this one right here. What's my time? Oh, man. We're going to talk about the credit card. If I asked everybody to open up their wallets, if I asked everybody at home, open up your wallets or get your purse, pull it out, everybody would have them. You would all have credit cards. We all have credit cards. Some of us have more credit cards than others. Okay? And it's important that we understand how they work and how they work us. Okay? So I've learned some of these things the hard way, and also have gone, I don't really have a choice because my credit score isn't very good, so I've got to use this to get out of a situation I'm in or whatever it might be. And I've had to do that, and I didn't want to do that, and it put me behind. Okay? And so I learned through some of my own mistakes on this. So I'm going to show you tonight up on the screen. Just put up any of them. Honestly, just put up one of those things. All right. Okay, here we have Capital One. How many know who's on that commercial? Samuel L. Jackson, Jennifer Carpenter. Is it Carpenter? Garner. Yeah. All those people they're always talking about, right? And then what's his name was Santa Claus during the holiday season. And him and Samuel Jackson go back and forth. So anyhow, this is Capital One Venture Rewards credit card. Now, the ones I'm showing you are some of the best credit cards according to whatever the best is. According to Dave Ramsey, none of them are the best. You should cut them all up, get rid of them, kill them, throw them away, right? So, Capital One Venture credit card gets a 4.7 rating on NerdWallet. And their annual fee is $95. Rewards weight 2 times to 5 times. That's all a scam. They try to get you getting points, and then you don't get anything. We have like 1 million Hilton Honors points. You know how much is, you know how many points it takes to get one night stay at a Hampton Inn? Like 200,000 points. So it's like bogus, all right? But it takes like 5 years to get 200,000 points. Intro offer, 75,000 miles. Hey, if you sign up for your credit card today, we're going to give you 75,000 bonus miles. It takes you over 120,000 bonus miles to get one free airline ticket. But it's a big jump, but you know that airline ticket maybe only costs $400, and you're going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on their credit card so that you can get those points and get those miles, right? Recommended credit, $690 to $850. Okay? This is who would qualify for this one right here. Go to the next one. Chase Freedom Unlimited. Woo! Got a 5.0 rating on NerdWallet. All right. This has 0 annual fee. Introductory APR, 0% introductory. Now, how many of you guys get these in the mail? All right. Half of the crowd raised their hand, and I'm assuming half the crowd at home raised their hand as well. 0% introduction APR for 15 months on purchases and balance transfers. You always got to read the fine print. That's important detail. Purchases and balance transfers. Sometimes it'll say purchases. Sometimes it'll just say balance transfers. Regular APR, this is important right here, 19 to 27% interest. So after your 15 months are over and you still have $839 on that credit card, that's not what you're going to be charged every month. Rewards, hey, it's 1.5 to 6.5%. Introductory offer, $300. Recommended credit score, $690 to $850. Now, these are the best credits. I went on Google. I said, best credit cards. These are the ones that popped up, okay? Now, notice 0% introductory APR for 15 months. Now, I'm going to tell you how to use those and how they'll also get you, okay? Because I've done that. All right, next one. Do I have another one? Okay. So these are the small details that are kind of like, so they want you to see the big stuff that I showed you, but I took a picture of the small things. Enjoy a one-time bonus of 75,000 miles once you spend $4,000 on purchases within 3 months from opening the account. Okay? It's the details. Now, they won't tell you that. They'll say, hey, if you sign up for our card, you're going to get 75,000 bonus miles. Yeah, you get those if you put $4,000 on our credit card within the first 3 months. So now you're in debt to them $4,000. Okay? So that you can get 75,000 miles, which actually if you paid for it yourself would only be $500. Okay? Earn unlimited 2 times miles on every purchase every day. Miles won't expire for the life of the account, and there's no limit to how many you can earn. Of course not. Receive up to $100 credit for global entry or TSA PreCheck. Hey, that's pretty cool. Enjoy 2 complimentary visits per year to Capital One lounges, glory, or to 100 plus Plaza Premium lounges through our partner. Earn 5 times miles on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel, where you get Capital One's best prices. Use your miles to get reimbursed for any travel purchase or redeemed by booking through Capital One. Transfer your miles to your choice of 15 plus travel loyalty programs. All right. Do I have another page or no? Was that it? Oh, I got one more. Oh, no, those, okay, I'll get to these in just a second. So you can see here, if you read the small print, this is, according to where I went on Google and NerdWallet, this was one of the best credit cards you could get. Now, what's important to understand, and you have to look for these, and you only look for these if you have a bunch of credit cards and you need to get out of debt, and you're trying to do the debt snowball, okay? Because some of them will do 0%, and they'll either do 12 months, what was that one, 15? 15 months, and then some of them 18 months and up to 24 months. 0% interest. So if you have 2 credit cards that you have $2,000 each on, you could transfer both of them to this one, 0% interest. Now, any of them that were in this category, I wouldn't even pay attention to. But when they get up into this area, now maybe it's your credit score that determines which ones you get. But when it's up in this area, now I'm like, okay, I got 2 years at no interest to pay off that. On the other credit card, I'm paying 19% interest. So I'm being charged $75 every month on this one here that I owe $2,000. So if I transfer that to this one, now I got 2 years. I can set up, okay, in 2 years, $4,000, and I can go, okay, I'm going to need a payment of about $375 every month to pay that off. And then I can pay it off just like I would a car payment. And you have to look at it that way, that this is non-negotiable. Every month I have to pay this. No, we can't go to the Dodger game because we won't have money to pay this. No, we can't go shopping because we won't have money to pay this. No, we can't go to the Laker game because we won't have money to pay this. Like, you have to be diligent and you have to be on purpose on what you're trying to do. Because if we started tonight and I said, what was your guys' goals financially? Where do you want to be in life? Everybody would have these very extravagant, cool things. We want to be debt-free. We want to be able to vacation. We want to be able to travel. We want to be able to go do things without feeling the pain of doing them. Absolutely. Everybody has the same goals. But you can't do them unless you get rid of all this. Right? You have to have it before you go on the vacation, so when you return from vacation, you don't feel grief after you just know that I just put $2,000 on a credit card that I'm going to see next month. And now it's going to take me the rest of the year to pay that thing off. Versus you're debt-free and you save up $2,000, go on the vacation, use those $2,000 while on vacation. When you return home, zero budget. Pain-free. Then when you go on vacation, you're not nitpicking, no, we don't want to go eat there, we can't go eat there, we don't have the money for it, da-da-da-da. When you go, oh, we have the money for it, where would you like to go eat tonight? Because you've budgeted for it. It changes your vacation. It changes your marriage. It's a totally different thing. Okay? And so we have to understand. So credit cards, so let's put up this last one, or this other one here, and then we'll wrap it up here in just a second. The one you had up, there we go. Okay, so don't look at the top. Everybody looked at the top. So then I put in the worst credit cards. 2023. Number 7, David's Bridal. Riley used to work there. Retailer issued credit cards seldom offer the best deals. In the case of the David's Bridal credit card, this is especially true. The features that make this credit card terrible are an APR of 28.49% interest. But you know what? They're playing on the emotions of some young lady that's like, oh, say yes to the dress and say yes to 28% interest on a $3,000 dress. But it's emotions, and mom's there, oh, it's okay, let's just do it. Retroactive interest fees apply if not paid on time. Retroactive interest fees mean that if you don't pay what you're supposed to pay, then it comes back and you got to pay all of the interest. Okay? No rewards offered. None. This is one expensive card. The interest rate is very high even for the best credit scores. If that weren't bad enough, the 0% special financing only for 6 months and will incur retroactive interest fees to the date of purchase if you don't pay the balance off before the promotion expires. With no rewards to be had and late payment fees of $39 every time it's late, this card is not a smart addition to your wallet. Number 6 was the UBS Preferred Visa Signature Card. This is a card aimed at business travelers who apparently don't care about high costs for little reward points. Here are some of the terrible burdens on cardholders. $495 annual fee. 3% balance transfer fee. That's actually normal. Up to 13.49% balance transfer APR. 22.24% cash advance rate. So not only are you paying $500, but you're getting charged maximum on everything else as well. Some credit cards, you'll see the 3% balance transfer fee pretty much on every card. But these other things that they have on there, you won't see. Now, that's number 7 and number 6. I didn't bother going down on the other ones. So these are bad credit cards, and this is how they're used, so you have to understand that. Now, this is how you can use it to your benefit, but I don't recommend it unless you absolutely have to, and that is if you go to Home Depot, I've got to put new carpet in my house. I've got to put a new air conditioner in my house. We don't have an extra $5,000 laying around. We don't have $5,000 in savings. So I go to Home Depot. They have 0% interest for 24 months. On approved credit is always the thing. So then if I have to put in $4,000 on that credit card, I know that I've got 24 months to pay that puppy off. If I do not pay that off, then your interest is retroactive, and they will come back and they will charge you all the interest that you should have or would have paid in those 24 months on that. The reason I know this is it happened on a Lowe's credit card for me. We got our new refrigerator at Lowe's. It was this deal right here. So I figured out, okay, 24 months minus, I think we paid, I don't know, $1,500 for this thing or something like that. So that told me I needed to pay $127 per month so that after the 24 months came due, I would have paid it off. Well, in December of that time, because I keep track of it, of December of that time, I got on my invoice $987 charge, and it was for interest retroactive. And I'm like, but it says on the statement that I have until next month to pay that off. So I was ticked. Because number one, I try to work the system, not them work me. And so I called them up and I said, hey, what is this charge of $987? Well, sir, that is the interest you will pay if you don't pay it off this month. So they already had it on there before I even accrued the time. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, so all I have to do is pay off this thing, which I only owed like $135 on it. And I'm like, I got to pay $987, so I was ticked. So anyway, so I'm like, all right. And so I just paid off the whatever I had to pay on it, $135. And then this went away the next month, and I had a zero balance on my Lowe's card. But they would have charged interest money on the amount of time for those 24 months had they charged interest, and that's how they work that. So it's not same as cash, because if you don't pay it off in time, it's 24% interest on using their money. This is how they make money, because most people don't pay attention to what's the charges. You don't see what the other charges are. Most people just say, oh, here's what it is. They file it away. They pay the bill. Over with, all right? And so you have to be aware of how credit cards use and abuse people. They are not your friend. And they will put you in debt. And the next thing you know, and so here's some of the habits people get into. Well, it's not in the budget. You know what? This month we gotta buy the uniform for little Johnny. He's gonna play t-ball. Got to play t-ball. And so, man, let's just put it on the credit card and we'll catch up. And then the next month something comes around. Oh man, I totally forgot. EXO conference is coming. It's $100 for both of us to go. We got to invest in our marriage. We don't really have it budgeted, but let's just put it on the credit card. And before you know it, the credit card shows up the next month and you like, holy cow, what did you buy? And then you realize it's just all these little things that added up to now you owe $975 on this credit card that at one time was 0%, was zero balance. And so that's why the importance of the budget, okay? And let me wrap this up tonight. I know this was a lot of practical, kind of boring stuff, but people have to understand how this works or you get worked. Say, I got to understand how this works or I get worked. That's why 73.5% of Americans are in debt. Most of the time it's because of credit cards and overspending of things and money that they don't actually have. Driving a Mercedes when they should be in a Chevy. Nothing wrong with either of those. It's just one costs a lot more. All right? So, on your handout tonight, I want to just go over this with you. It's 8:30. Normally we're done already, so I apologize, but You can tell I was enjoying myself, trying to help you guys. So, okay. So let me just encourage you for a second. At one time, Pastor Jennifer and I had probably 5 to 6 credit cards, and we had about $18,000 in debt on those. Okay? You may go, that doesn't sound so bad if you have more than that. And others might go, holy cow, how did you get that much? From everything I just told you. One, back when our rental properties, we didn't have a lot of extra money. We still owed a lot on them. And then a couple of people took advantage of us, cleaned us out, took all the appliances, took all the stuff, destroyed the house. So then for 3 months, I had to repair the house before I could get a renter in it. And I didn't have the money to pay 3 mortgages. So I took advantage of one of these 0% things to keep me in the game on my mortgage so that I could get a renter in it, and then I would catch up. Well, in the meantime, you put 3 months mortgages on a credit card, now it's going to have $6,000 on it. And now I got to dig myself out. And so you have to be careful and you have to be diligent about that. And I'm not afraid and wasn't afraid to work extra jobs to get ahead, but you also have to really be disciplined and go after the budgeting so that you can get ahead. So I'm just telling you that, okay, I gave you all these wonderful answers. It's because I've been on the other side. I've had multiple credit cards and thousands of dollars in debt, and I'm here to tell you that we got rid of all that and that you can do it too. Okay? So you can do it. You can do it if you apply these things. If you're, gazelle intensity, running from the lion that's trying to attack it and kill it for lunch or dinner. If you run like a gazelle, like your life depends on it, when it comes to getting rid of debt, when it comes to doing a budget, in agreement as couples or as an individual, having someone hold you accountable to these things, then you can get ahead in these areas in life, all right? So, okay, on your handout, everybody got this? Okay, on your handout, on the first page, you will see a quick start budget. Okay, I'm going to do that with you tonight, quick start in like 5 minutes. Okay, you're going to take this home and you're going to play with this first sheet. So you won't write anything on it. I'll write on this one for the example, but you'll just listen. And then you can take this home and practice or give it a shot. Okay. Next week, Pastor Jennifer will be here. When she came, or when we did this, she would do all the pencil pushing. We would sit down and talk, and she would do all the pencil pushing, and she would make sure the numbers go here, and this goes here, and this goes here. So she's really good at this right now. Now, we have right now what they call, and if you want to write this down, you can. You may choose to do this because it's way easier. Let's see here. It is called the Every Dollar app. Okay, it's green. And it has, you guys can't see it, but looks like dollar bills. Every dollar. Just put every dollar in the app, in your app search, put every dollar, Dave Ramsey or whatever. And this every dollar app you can get. Now, I will tell you this, it's free, but it's not a very good free one. Because you got to put in all this information, and it's very tedious, and it's harder actually than just doing the paper one, in my opinion. Or you can pay, but not everybody's in that position, so I don't want to put that upon you. But some of you already pay $9.99 a month for an app that you don't really use a whole lot, like dieting ones. So, just teasing. But this app is retail $129 a year. So if you break that down over 12 months, it's about $10 a month for this app. So to me, it was worth it. But then they'll do sales. And so I got a Black Friday sale just last year for $49. So then I had to save the code until my current one went up, time up, and then I inserted the code, and now I get this year for $49 for this app. Okay, so then that's like $5 a month or whatever it is. So with this, it can sync with your bank account. And so whatever your bank account is, you can sync it. So whatever you spend on your debit card, slide at Starbucks, slide at McDonald's, slide at Winco, wherever it is, it registers in your account and it goes to your budgeting app. And then you can appropriate that spending to whatever budget category you've applied it to. And so it's an electronic budgeting system that's connected with your bank. So then you get to see what he spends, and she gets to see what you spend. And so I'll say to What is this Amazon $25, Jen? What is this? Well, I needed shampoos or something like, oh, okay, cosmetics, whatever. So you have all these categories. What is this other Amazon for $49? Well, Riley needed something. You got to have that budgeting conversation before it shows up and you go, because I didn't budget for that in the app. So now I got to move money around because I got to take from somewhere that I was planning on and fill that in where we weren't planning on, right? So anyhow, that's available to you if you want to do that. Okay, let's do this little